she's looking good now. As we return to the men's 100 meters, Tony Sharp of Canada runs in lane 1. And this is Samuels of Jamaica in lane 2. Egbenike, there he is with long hair. Innocent Egbenike, who is a brilliant starter, World Student Games champion from Nigeria. Ernest Obeng, who lives in England but runs for Ghana. Then Schroeder of East Germany. And now Calvin Smith, the world record holder from the United States of America. Paul Narracott of Australia on his right. And Luke Buster Watson of Great Britain. That's what he wants to be called, not Luke, but Buster Watson. Not a good starter, but he is quite a good finisher. But I think we'll see Calvin Smith, who holds the world record at 9.93, fly away from the rest. And he is. He's getting away. Narracott is still with him. On the far side, Tony Sharp is going well, but suddenly Calvin Smith breaks away and gets there ahead of Tony Sharp and ahead of Paul Narracott. And the crowd here excited to see this brilliant runner, Calvin Smith, 22 years of age, and he's the British champion as well as an American champion, and he gets there from Tony Sharp of Canada and Paul Narracott of Australia. Only the first 4 go forward by right, and he's full of bounce now. The 4th man there to go through was Schroeder of East Germany, and that's a pity because some good sprinters went out in that heat, running into a wind of 1.1 meters against them. Now, if that was exciting, imagine the crowd next when they come into the modern-day Jesse Owens, Carl Lewis of America, drawn in lane 1. He's got Voronin of Poland with him. He's got the best of the East Germans. But really, it's about lane 1, and all eyes will be on him and nobody else. And look at this man fly. This is the man who is expected to break the world record for 100 meters very soon, to break the world record for the long jump, even that incredible long jump that stands to Bob Beamon, set in the altitude of Mexico City. He's got Raymond Stewart of Jamaica following to 2nd place. Cameron Sharp in the all-white of Great Britain in 3rd. Frank Emmelman of the German Democratic Republic in 4th. But look at that gap as Carl Lewis from the University of Houston in Texas runs through against a headwind in 10.20 from Stewart of Jamaica. But that's a marvellous, marvellous start. And it must have affected these fellows in Heat 3. They'll have looked at that with interest. Desai Williams we've seen from Canada, then Gerard Keating. Britskin we'll see of the Soviet Union, the 21-year-old. And now Alan Wells, the reigning Olympic champion from Great Britain. He's also the Commonwealth champion. He's had a poor season so far, but he's coming back slowly. And here's Chidi Imoa from Nigeria, only 18. Who's run so well in America. He too at an American university. Osvaldo Lara of Cuba, the 28-year-old experienced Cuban, is on his right. And Juan Nunez of the Dominican Republic, who was a heat winner. And then we've got Istvan Tata, and doesn't he look a Tata, every inch of him. So Williams of Canada, Keating of Australia, Britskin of the Soviet Union, Alan Wells, the powerfully built Scot, is the Olympic champion, and he gets away, but Desai Williams is with him, but he'll be safely into the next round as he looks across. Desai Williams of Canada takes that. From Alan Wells, from Juan Nunez of the Dominican Republic. It's 4 that go through to the next round, to the semi-finals, but the Olympic champion is coming back to something like his old form. He's there for sure in 2nd place, but it was a good run by the Canadian. Desai Williams, who was born in St Kitts but runs for Canada. Alan Wells walking back. The 4th man there, confirmed as the Cuban, Osvaldo Lara, who will go through to the next round. Minus 1.1 meter the wind, but it's good to see them in action as we come to the 4th heat. Ben Johnson of Canada, Christian Haas of West Germany, Penalva of Cuba, another very good Cuban sprinter, is in lane 3. We've got Pavoni of Italy, Ferenc Kiss and Emmett King. Emmett King running in lane 7, who finished 2nd in the American Championships. He's this side, Ben Johnson's on the other side, Christian Haas, and Emmett King gets there. Emmett King, the NCAA champion. That's the National Collegiate champion. There he is, looking up to see how he got on. He's through safely. And it looks as though Christian Haas is 2nd, and Penalva of Cuba is 3rd, and Ben Johnson, the Jamaican-born Canadian, is 4th, but another good American hits the tape. in 10.30. Christian Haas, the West German, did well to finish there in 10.36. So that's very important indeed. There's the shadow of that great tower, a monument to javelin throwing, as we look for the first girl in, and it is Grete Waitz indeed. This is marvellous running from the girl from Norway, 29 years of age, from Oslo, whose husband Jack is her coach and constant companion. She was first encouraged into athletics by a javelin thrower, would you believe, Terje Pedersen, the world's first 300-foot javelin thrower. He too a Norwegian, that's why the Norwegian flags are going. So that's marvellous. She's got two brothers who are also marathon runners, and she's faster than them both. And this will bring tears to their eyes as their little sister wins the first major title. She's the reigning world cross-country champion. She's been 5 times the winner, 4 times in succession, but never won a track title in a major championships. In 1978, in the European Championship, she was beaten for speed at 3,000 meters by a Russian girl called Ulmasova. And her toughest task now may be to hold that laurel wreath on her shoulders. She's just run 26 miles, 385 yards. And that is a marvellous victory for the world of women's athletics, for Scandinavia in particular, because she is regarded in the same vein as many of the world's men's great champions at marathon. She has so much respect for the rest. And here's the Russian girl, Raisa Smakhnova, into the stadium being chased by Marianne Dickerson of the United States. Marianne Dickerson in her 3rd ever marathon. She's only run 2 before. And Raisa Smakhnova will run a faster time. She's running wide, I don't know why. And she looks very tired and looks over her shoulder to see what the American girl is going to do. It's been very warm on the course. That gap is closing. That gap is closing, and suddenly Marianne Dickerson can sense that she could be second. And she goes past the Russian girl without so much as a look. And she's running for the line now. She's got about 70 meters to go. And that's a pity for the Russian girl, but it's well done to the American girl as she comes home following Grete Waitz's time of 2 hours, 28 minutes and 9 seconds. Look at this. Here's the second girl home, and she's going to be 2 hours, 31 minutes and 9 seconds. And Smakhnova, the third girl there, in 2 hours, 31 and 13. So it was a race to the end, and it was a marvellous emotional victory for the girl from Norway that put women's marathon running on the map. Now, if that's a fair distance to go, the men are setting out on one of their 2 walks. This is 20,000 meters, 20 kilometers, just over 13 miles, and there'll be 66 starters from 32 countries. That's a remarkable number. Their problem is obeying the rules, because walking is a progression by steps, so taken that unbroken contact with the ground is maintained at each step. The advancing foot of the walker must make contact with the ground before the rear foot leaves the ground. And if you look very closely, and it's a bit harsh scrutiny of these great athletes to watch them too closely, but they are having difficulty, which is worrying the International Amateur Athletic Federation, because a lot of their critics say that this is straight-legged running rather than walking. It's always been a controversial problem, and it's been in and out of the games due to judging controversies. In the 1924 Olympic Games, walking was excluded from the next games in Amsterdam. It returned in 1932 due to British pressure, really. And when the 50-kilometer walk was introduced, it ran into trouble again. They took them off the track and out onto the roads, and that's where they'll go now, out from this track onto the roads. Now, Sara Simeoni, the real love of Italy, the European... Now that is tragic, because the European champion, who is so much regarded, former world record holder, and she's turned that left calf over. Sara Simeoni is in great pain. What a tragedy. You can see that she jumped clear at 1.75 meters, then 180, 184, 187. And I don't think she's going to be able to continue in these championships. Such a tragedy. Sara Simeoni in tears.